You're running on fumes as a writer, and you're either unmotivated, uninspired, or just plain ambivalent to writing, and your writer check engine light is beeping at you. How do you fix it, and what are some areas you should consider to stay healthy? That's what we're getting into today. Let's jump in. We're going to cover 3 broad buckets of focus you can devote some time to that'll get you to a healthier place as a writer and get that check engine light turned off. It's just really a healthier place as a human being as well. So it kind of applies even if you're not really a writer. Thank you to the 3 of you or 2 of you. I can't even, tuning in. The 3 we're going to focus on, the 3 buckets are the mental bucket, the life bucket, and the writing craft bucket. And we're going to cover 5 things in each bucket. I'm going to kind of try to move pretty quick. These 5 things will be able to help you clear your check engine danger light and move to more healthy running of your car, your writing, yourself. Mental bucket first. As a result of COVID, we are all aware of the importance of mental health. Some of us a little too aware. So let me give you some 5 things to help you make sure your mental bucket is healthy. First, realize that there are some things that are beyond us. If you need help, get help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It might be about writing, might be about life, doesn't matter what it is. If you need some help, go get some help. Don't be afraid to ask. Stay healthy. If you need some help, I am not a professional, so find a professional, get some help. Number 2, when writing, have a plan. You're going to write X number of pages a day. You're going to finish the outline by next Friday. Whatever it is, you want to have a plan. A screenplay can be daunting and overwhelming, so break things down into smaller pieces, have a plan. This really helps mentally because things don't feel so overwhelming. They don't feel so daunting. If you can break it down and have a plan for how to tackle it, that's going to help you feel a little more at peace and not mentally stressed out. Another thing you can do is when you're writing, let your first draft be your first draft. Edit later. Okay, stop putting the pressure on yourself to get it right out of the gate. That's mentally taxing. Plus, it's easier to fix something if you have something to fix. I mean, if I got words on the page, I can fix those. So get the draft done. What you want to do is you want to celebrate the victory of a completed script. So many wannabe writers don't finish a script. So finish a script, get to the end, write the end. Now you've got something to fix. So don't put all the pressure on yourself of it's got to be right, it's got to be good, it's got to be all this. Just get a script. Don't put all that pressure on yourself. Number 4 to help you stay mentally healthy is do things for other people. Get out of your own head. Put others first. Volunteer. Be a good neighbor. 2 of the things that I do, I referee youth soccer. So usually on my weekends, I'm refereeing soccer, and I volunteer at my church. Those are things I do because I want to do things for other people, not just because of who I am as a person, because I know that helps me stay mentally healthy. So do things for other people, volunteer, do some other stuff, get out of your own head. And the last thing I'm going to mention is kind of a bucket within the bucket because there's a couple of things. And these are what I'm just going to call rejuvenating or stability things that just kind of help you out. They also, you can kind of share these. So you can also put this little smaller bucket inside the life bucket, which we're about to talk about. And some of them you are familiar with. So maybe these are just some good reminders. Number 1, get enough sleep, get some rest. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, get enough rest. That helps your mental health. Go outside and enjoy the sunshine a little bit. It really helps your disposition, your mentality if you just get outside. Be with others and experience life in community. I mean, we are communal creatures by nature. So embrace that. Be with other people. That helps your mental health. Another thing is establish some routines. When you write, when you eat, all those kinds of things. Routines help us feel comfortable and at peace. And comfort and peace do a lot to combat anxiety and fear that contribute to a lot of mental unhealth. Okay, the life bucket. Life should be lived. You need to do things that help your physical health. And many of these might sound familiar. I'm going to move really fast through these because you probably heard most of these, but let these be reminders like, hey, yeah, I really do need to do that. I haven't been doing that, so I should be doing that. So the first thing I'm going to mention, because again, it's shared with the mental bucket, are the rejuvenating things. So sleep, get outside, live in community, establish routines, all those things. So that's number 1 of the life bucket. Those things help your mental and physical health. Be sure you do those. Number 2, establish breaks in your day. I personally can easily be a workaholic. I forget to take breaks. I start doing things and I just like, hey, I want to get to the end. You need breaks. I need breaks. So limit your time sitting. Number 3, watch your diet. Healthy food and drink does wonders. Now, I know you're like me, like I want a burger, burger, fries, and Coke, and I drink a lot of Coke. I probably drink too much Coke, but you want to be eating healthy. So make sure you're getting your fruits and vegetables and all that good stuff. Okay, you know this one. Moving on. Exercise. Again, another one you probably know, something not new to you, but I'm reminding you of these things because if you're sitting all the time, you're not getting outside, you're eating fast food, you're not exercising, it's no wonder your check engine light is on and you don't want to write. You don't feel like writing. So let's hope the EKG doesn't turn on because your heart goes bonkers. Okay, so we don't want that to happen. Exercise, eat healthy, all that kind of stuff. And then the last thing I'll mention for the life bucket before we get into the writing craft bucket is seek balance. You want to be a writer, and that's great. You got to work hard at it. If you want to be good at a craft, you got to work hard at it. But you also need time to play. You need a little bit of time to just play every day, at least a little. And that doesn't mean you got to go play a sport and spend hours doing something. It doesn't mean, you got to sit down with a bunch of Legos or coloring books, although all those options are fine. But you do want to spend some regular time playing. So don't forget to do that. Before I get to the writer bucket, if you're finding value, interact in some way, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I really do appreciate it. Drop a comment below. I really appreciate it. One other thing I want to mention is I'm trying something new. I want to try something new, and I'm hoping somebody's going to take me up on it. I'm calling it the One Scene Challenge. Simply, anyone can submit a one-page scene as a PDF. It must be a PDF. It can only be on one page, so it's got to adhere to those parameters. One scene, and email it to me at this address, ask@bigredstripe.com, with the subject line One Scene Challenge. And do that by September 10th, 2021. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one submission, and for a future YouTube video, I'm going to break down the scene, what's working, what's not working, and I'm going to revise it, and here's what I would do, here's how I would try to make that better. So if you want me to go over your scene, one of your scenes, get it on one page, make it a PDF, email it to me by September 10th. If there's enough interest, I may make this a regular feature on the channel. I'm looking forward to see what you're going to submit. If you want more information, all the details are below. It's in the notes section of the description, which is close to the bottom, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in the One Scene Challenge. Okay, to the writing bucket. Now, we've talked about your mental health and physical health, but we also want to address your writing health. And one way to think about this is how you mentally approach and understand the craft of writing. So let me go over 5 tips that are just kind of making sure you're approaching writing in the right way, that helps make sure that you are approaching and have the right writer mindset. Number 1 is you don't mind notes. A healthy writer can distance their personal self from the stories. I mean, notes on writing that you've done are not personal attacks on you. Okay, they're not attacks on your character or you as a person or anything. It's about the artifact. If I'm making notes on a story, I'm addressing the story, not the author. I want to talk about the story. I want to understand that. And if I'm a healthy writer, I can separate that. So when somebody gives me notes or says, hey, the story isn't working, I'm like, okay, that's the story. I'm still great. But, the story, it needs some work. I may need some work too, but that's a whole separate issue, right? So I can separate that. A healthy writer can do that. Second thing in your writer craft bucket is you are constantly learning. You read books, you read blogs, you watch videos, you watch movies, you watch TV shows, you watch and read a lot of stuff. You have conversations with other writers. You have conversations with people in the film industry. You try to understand what's going on. You try to help other writers behind you on the journey. Anyone who says they have it all figured out are people that I worry about. If you say like, hey, I've got it all figured out, I'm always right, well, now you can never be wrong, and that's a lot of pressure. I'm constantly learning. Every pro I know is constantly learning. You want to be constantly learning. A healthy writer is one who's constantly learning. So have a spirit of a student. You want to be learning. Another mindset in this bucket of the writing craft that helps you stay healthy is you are willing to break the rules, but you know why you're breaking the rules. New writers, they tend to want to break the rules, but they don't understand why they're breaking them. And then they get frustrated when no one gets their story or when people criticize their writing. And then all of a sudden the self-doubt begins and it's just a big snowball, and that's a problem, right? Healthy writers know the reasons behind the rules, so they can break them in ways that are not bad, that actually help the story. And they're self-confident enough to know they can get away with it. I mean, if you aren't sure if you can get away with breaking a rule, you shouldn't do it. Go and learn about the rule. Figure out why it's there. Then come back and decide if you should.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Another attribute for a healthy mindset of a writer is you don't wait for inspiration. Inspiration is for amateurs. Pros write whether they're inspired or not, because their motivation doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from determination and fortitude, perseverance. Healthy writers know they can fix whatever they write. Unhealthy writers worry that any word they write is going to be wrong, so they just wait to get inspired. They just and it's so much tension. Just get rid of the pressure, push through. If you need inspiration, you may want to revisit the mental and life buckets to make sure that they're full. If those buckets are full, you're not going to have a problem thinking of stories or figuring out what story to tell or this character or dreaming up scenarios or whatever it is. You're not going to have a problem because the rest of your life is full. Don't wait for inspiration. Healthy writers don't wait for inspiration. Healthy writers are just determined and they persevere and they just push on. The last aspect I'll mention about being a healthy writer as it relates to your mindset with the writing craft is your writing rhythms. Personally, I am most productive in the late afternoon and in the late evening, like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. my time. So if I'm writing, that's when I'm writing. I'm sitting down then, that's when I'm writing. I know my patterns, I know my rhythms. I have routines for writing and I write at the times that are most efficient for me. If you know your rhythms and tap into them, you're well on your way to being a healthy writer. So try to figure out what your rhythms are, try to figure out what your patterns are, and if you can do that, you are well on your way to being a healthy writer and avoiding that check engine light. Hopefully this has been helpful to you, and if it has, please be sure to like, subscribe, bell, all that. I really do appreciate it. There's some links below that might be helpful. Don't forget about the one scene challenge. That information about that's below. And when you go to tell a story, I hope your check engine light doesn't come on and that you tell a story that matters. See you later.